And I know we have a question, so we'll open it up to a couple questions. And
I was thinking about the title and the non-for-profit and things causes you care about, I think is the way you phrased it. And I had the thought in the past in different classes that deal with more the facilitation of problem solving, and you all have had consultant work or are currently doing that. And one of the things that struck me was, how could I give my life to, say, consulting if there are things that I care so much about, but it's constantly helping this person and moving on and helping this person and moving on. And maybe that's an incorrect view of consulting, but I don't know how to phrase the question, but just wondering, are there things that you passionately care about, and are you able to aid those causes? Or is it just that there are causes in front of you and you aid those? Or is it that creativity is the ultimate cause that allows you to do good in other aspects?
you know, kind of like, do you seek it out, or does it come to you? And
Yeah.
Well, for me, my passion is pretty much children and teens. And so I find they're just kind of like, you're drawn to it's like a magnet that draws you to that, well, I could use my services in this particular area. Some of the things besides the therapy dog that I actually end up volunteering doing, it's not, you're consulting, but you're not getting paid. So we have an organization, a grassroots organization in Rochester called SMART, and that acronym stands for Safer Monroe, that's the county we live in, Area Reentry Team. And it's several agencies within the city, county, and their focus is on helping people who have been incarcerated come back into society and be successful members. And so I kind of got connected with the idea that maybe my leadership styles could help some of the agencies that were there. But what has really happened is that as I run into people who are either in that situation or they have a family member or a friend, now I find myself referring them to this organization and say, because most of the time when people come out of jail, I think they get a little bit of money and they get some clothing, and that's it. And if you don't meet certain criteria, you're back in. So, and I don't mean because you break the law. I mean, you're back in because one of the criteria is that you find a job. Okay, I have a record. How do I find a job? That's up to you. Their parole officer and their probation officer really do not give them a list of places to go and look for a job. So this agency actually have companies that have agreed that they will work with people in that position depending on what I mean, you're not going to be at a cash register if you were in jail for robbery. But if you were in jail for maybe something else, then maybe you could run a cash register. I mean, it depends on what your circumstances are. So I spent a lot of time with that agency. And then Volunteers of America, they tapped me out because of my creativity and leadership skills and asked me if I would be on their program committee. Then another agency, Center for Dispute Settlement, asked me to be a board member because of the creativity and leadership. So, and the Center for Dispute Settlement, their focus is on mediation. So it all lines up with what my passion is, which is children, teens, but just helping people who are in a position of conflict or crisis or potential crisis to broaden and look beyond that point and see that there really might be a light at the end of that tunnel if I can just get myself to stop focusing on my problem and begin to start looking at solutions.
one of the things that the students are doing is they're putting together their values, their philosophy, and articulating that more, which is really what you're articulating is, this is my focus, and these are things I believe in. And do you find that you make choices deliberately in what you'll work with those kind of things in mind, what you're passionate about?
Yeah, like just before I came here, I clicked on my email, and I had been looking for a job earlier in the fall. And I got an email from one of the search engines, I don't know what you call it, that I had been put my resume on. Now, I just accepted a job December 1st, supposedly part-time, to manage a tutoring service, a No Child Left Behind tutoring service. I get paid like nothing compared to what my skills are. But it's exciting because I'm able to go out and actually recruit qualified tutors to go in after school and help children, with the idea that I really believe that kids can have A's and B's. They don't have to have these C's and D's and F's that they have. So I'm looking at this, and it said all the things that I wanted to do in leadership, like teaching customer service, phone etiquette, all these things are listed on there. And I said, let me click off of this really quick, let me get ready to come to Buffalo. But I started thinking, what is your value? Is your value on taking a job where you're going to help adults and you're going to make good money, especially in the economy we're in now? Or is your focus on what you really said you wanted to do, which was really to help kids? And once you hone in on what your philosophy and your passion is, all kind of opportunities are going to come to you. You have to filter out and say, does this fit in with my belief system, or does it fit in with my philosophy? Otherwise, you can find yourself all over the place, or in places that may be financially fruitful to you, but it isn't fulfilling that part of you which hopefully has begun to start a rage inside of you as you go through this program of creativity and leadership.
At the Creative Problem Solving Institute, over the past many years, a very interesting man named George Land said, let the future pull you. And it seems to me that when to thine own self be true, if you're really living up to who and what you are, doors will open. And once again, I think that the way you have to respond to those doors opening, otherwise you can be all over the place and it'd be a little bit crazy, is to say what's best for me. And I think, I'm not sure that's where you were going before, but if you're not true to yourself when those opportunities come your way, it can get very chaotic. So again, choose your criteria wisely, because they will come to you. They will there will be doors opening all over the place if you do find out who and what you are and really explore that path. And get some support systems, by the way. We were talking about that on the break, because there are times when you really need it, and this creative community is filled with amazing people.
I think I would say that consulting can be a very frustrating vocation, if you like, because you have no power. So you can advise and you can cajole, and you often understand the situation better than the people with whom you're working, not necessarily because of greater expertise, but because for some reason people inside organizations think consultants are never going to pass on anything that they say. So you have the strangest conversations with people in organizations who tell you things which are absolutely secret and which the next person in the organization with whom you meet will then tell you the exact opposite of it. And so the insight that you get into organizations as a consultant can be really quite significant. But the power that you have is non-existent. You can only suggest. The question is, where you think you can do the greatest good. So, if you genuinely felt that you could run an organization or contribute to the running of the organization and you could make a significant change there, great. Then you need to be inside that organization. If, on the other hand, that through your career you have developed some sort of overview of a situation, or it may be some sub-element of that, then it probably means that you would be of most benefit to be able to share that across a number of organizations. I mean, we've been talking about education, and if you had a particular speciality in some aspect of education that other school systems would benefit from, then operating as a consultant might be a useful way to do it. But I think that's got to be the choice, or that's got to be what you understand. Where would I be able to make the greatest contribution, matched with, as Joette was saying, an understanding of what it is that you really want to be able to do. Now, the one caveat I would put on this is that when you're working in an organization as a consultant, as you get to know people, you have a privileged position. You are in all sorts of meetings, you get involved in all sorts of decision making as an advisor, which when you actually join the organization, you'll find you're no longer in that situation. So if you found an organization that you thought, this would be fantastic, I'd love to be part of it, you need to do a quick reality check, because your role within that would change potentially quite significantly, unless they recruited you as CEO or something like that. So one needs to be careful not to delude oneself into both your ability to make change if you actually worked in the organization and the role that they would actually want you to do. Consultants are useful because they can get rid of you.
Kind of the be careful of what you ask for, yeah, as well.
You know, I thought when I was taking my last course, which is the course that you're in, that okay, the world is going to be ready for me now. You know, I'm all equipped. I got everything. And I truly had internalized all my classes to the point that when I wrote my final project, I didn't look back at a single note because it had become such a part of me that I could just, and all of the courses, they made sense. I knew why I took every course and how it was fitting into the project. And so I just knew the world was ready for me, you know. But the reality is that you may find that the skills that you have, the insight that you have, that the world is not ready for you. And so be willing to be open and think of ways, all kind of creative ways that you can use your skills in areas other than you thought you might be using your skills. Does that make sense? Okay.